Steve claims he hasn't seen any of the videos, which I don't buy for 1 second. But in the middle of the date when you guys asked him what the worst case scenario would be, and he went into that whole like spiral downward about being homeless, I thought that was kind of funny, and I wish he would have like evoked more of that kind of sense of humor with me. But maybe, I don't know, maybe he was thrown by the cameras, or I don't know. If everything went perfectly, it'd make for bad TV or whatever. And of course, like, dating never goes perfectly. You don't meet someone from an app and then go on a first date with them and you're like, oh my god, it's my soulmate. It never works like that. But
for sure. We had the launch party, but beforehand, were you in contact with Steve after your date?
Well, I can tell you what the truth is, and I can tell you what Steve said to someone else about that too, if you want to hear all three.
Go for it.
So the truth was I in contact with Steve to a very minimal degree. He texted me a few times, oh my god, the series is coming out soon, blah, blah, blah. And he seemed pretty excited, which is why I don't buy that he claims that he hasn't watched the videos yet, because he seemed pretty excited about the videos coming out. So whatever you want to tell me, Steve. So then we had like one other day of him texting me. Like, I never initiated any kind of conversation with him, but I like continued the conversation on like a very like platonic friend level. And he asked me on a second date. He did. And I kind of skirted around the issue and basically was trying to delay it until he watched the episodes, because I knew that he definitely would not want to go on a second date with me after he saw the episodes. So then he said that he didn't see them, and I was like, oh my god, can this kid finally just watch them so he doesn't text me again? And then my friend Brian Hardy, the blonde Brian of the Brian Friends, was looking over Steve's shoulder at the party when Steve was texting one of his friends. And the text said something along the lines of, just had an awkward conversation with a girl I went on the date with. The party's weird. It was also awkward because I haven't talked to her since we went on the date. And I was like, okay, now Steve's just a weirdo and an asshole, because he did ask me on a second date and he didn't send it through carrier pigeon. He sent it through a text. So yeah, he did text me after the date. And also, I was not awkward to him. So that's what I have to say to you, Steve, if you ever watch this video.
You heard that, Steve? Directly from Danielle.
Why are you telling people I had an awkward conversation with you? I definitely didn't, because I already had a few drinks in me, so I definitely was not being awkward. And yeah, the party wasn't weird either. It was really fun. It was just weird for him because he didn't invite any of his friends, and that's what he told me.
What would you say is the best thing that happened on your date? Free drinks?
No, I get those all the time, but no, I'm just kidding. The best thing was probably that, like, when you're on a regular date, you don't always have the chance to like step back and ask yourself certain questions about how the date is going and what you should maybe do next and what you should ask and like what you're thinking about what the person says. Like, of course you're like taking in everything they're saying, but you don't really have that chance to really reflect. So I did enjoy the aspect that like we were taken aside like a few times, like before the date, during the date, after the date, and we're like asked questions from you or one of the producers, and it really like helped me reflect on how the date was going. Or like I said before, like when my brother was asking me questions, it made me realize that like I wasn't asking a lot of questions. And then I was kind of thinking like, wow, do I do this on other dates that I have gone on outside of the series? Like maybe that has to do with like why I'm not consistently dating with someone else. Like, so I don't know. It gave me a lot of like reflection on my own journey, as they say on the Bachelor and Bachelorette series.
That's a great reflection, actually. Yeah, I feel like we don't really do that on dates because we're just
Yeah.
like, engulfed in the conversation, or we're nervous, or have anxiety, and we forget like the basic stuff. Like you didn't even ask like Steve the basic stuff, like you mentioned before.
Right. And like usually you only get to really like reflect on it after the date, and you're like, oh, I really wish I asked him about this, or like, wow, he said this when I asked him this, but instead I got to like talk about it with someone else while the date was happening.
Awesome. And what would you say was the worst thing about the date? Say
um
anything.
the worst part was that like I was excited for the overall experience, in that like I was gonna get like filmed for a date, and like I was excited for that part, but the worst part was that like I wasn't excited to meet Steve at all. I was like, well, I already signed up for it. I'm gonna do it. I'm not gonna bail. So here it goes.